Welcome back, Chappelle. All right, timer has started. We're looking at like about a 6-minute flip right now, so let's get after it, right? So where we left off in class, we were talking about the Portuguese and their expeditions around Africa, right? And what's the goal here? Where is everyone trying to get to India, right? Why does everybody want to get to India? Everybody wants to get to India because they want to get a hold of these spices, right? Because they're so high value, they're so marked up by the time they get to Europe. A lot of these countries decide that they want to be the ones that start bringing them in, right? The first two to strike out at this, Portugal, Spain. Portugal takes the Africa route, but Spain is going to take a little bit of a different route, right? So after De Gama's voyage from Portugal, the Portuguese make a massive trading empire that goes all the way around the Cape of Good Hope, right? And to remember something, the Cape of Good Hope is the southern tip of Africa, right? Down here is the Cape of Good Hope, originally named the Cape of Storms due to the number of ships that were lost there, but it eventually does become known as the Cape of Good Hope because if you can get to the Cape of Good Hope, you can actually get pretty far, right? And you get all the way to India. Now, Columbus, on the other hand, is going to sail for Spain, all right? So now I could talk for days about Columbus. I could talk about how he's Italian, first of all. He's not Spanish. I could talk all about how Christopher Columbus, who's Italian, wants to find a new route to India because of where he's from. He's actually from a place called Genoa, and they were a huge rival of Venice. And so Genoa had always been looking for new trade routes to usurp their big rival, Venice. So Columbus, though, is going to go up to two very famous leaders named Ferdinand and Isabella Castile. They are the queen and king of Spain. And why did I say queen first? Because Isabella is the more authoritarian person in this relationship, right? She makes a lot of decisions. She's the one that originally decided that she would give Columbus this deal. And so they gave Columbus a commission to sail west. And the idea was that Columbus, as we talked about today in class, would pop up on the other side of the world and then make his way to India, right? But unfortunately, he takes those three boats, the Nina, the Pinta, the Santa Maria, the stuff that you learned in like 4th grade, hopefully. And pops up, tries to get all the way out there, but then gets all the way there and actually ends up running into some stuff, right? And what does he run into? He runs into the Caribbean, right? He actually never set foot in what you now call the United States of America, right? Columbus never once stepped foot in the United States of America. Never at any point did he dip a toe in Africa or did he touch anything that you would consider the Carolinas or Louisiana. He bounced around the Caribbean for most of it. Where he actually landed, the Caribbean islands that he landed in, were actually the Bahamas, right? So after 3 months of sailing and getting lost twice, Columbus ends up landing in the Caribbean, and he thinks he's in Japan when he gets there. And then he leaves that island, and he goes somewhere else, and he ends up running into some natives, and then that kind of starts the entire thing of calling these people Indians, right? So he ends up coming up and having contact with the natives that live there, right? And ends up referring to them as Indians because he believed that he was actually getting close to India. A lot of people believe it says he's trying to save face. Now, look at this cross back here in the background, right? I need you to make a star, okay? I need you to make a star real quick. This is very, very important. According to the Europeans, converting the natives to Christianity was just as important as finding the wealth that they would one day find, right? Converting the natives became very high priority. The natives are going to resist this, and it's going to lead to some violence later on, just to give you some heads up, right? But conversion does become a very, very large thing. But now we've got an issue, right? So now we're going to pull back a little bit. We're going to kind of take a second to kind of look over the entire scope of things. So looking at this, we now have two massive countries, okay? Not massive in size, but massive in influence, Portugal and Spain, which have contacted India. And now Spain has discovered what they thought were islands at first, but when it ends up becoming two brand new continents, right? Now, really quickly, though, what faith, even post-Reformation, did both of these countries remain? They remained devoutly Catholic, right? And so, when this thing called the Treaty of Tordesillas gets written, the Treaty of Tordesillas was written and commissioned by the Pope at the time, who I believe in the 1490s would have been Alexander VI, is going to actually commission this entire thing. Alexander VI actually did write that, yeah. So he split the world in half, right? You ever see that episode of Full House where Stephanie and DJ draw a line down the middle of their room and they're like, all right, you get this half and I get this half, right? So that's what they did. Portugal got the right side of the map, Asia, including India, and Spain got the left side, including the New World, right? Now, that's what that line of the Treaty of Tordesillas is known as the line of demarcation, right? The line of demarcation. Now, it was not written correctly, all right? It wasn't drawn correctly because they had no idea how big South America was, and the line actually cut the tip of Brazil off, giving that part to the Portuguese, which is why Brazilians speak Portuguese, right? Because originally when Napoleon starts getting really active and he invades all this stuff, the Portuguese royal family leaves, and they actually found this area on top of some colonies and with some natives already lived there and stuff like that. But yeah, the Portuguese end up getting Brazil as well because the line wasn't drawn correctly. But this line of demarcation, you need to highlight that, underline it, circle it about 8 times. Got 2 slides, killing the game right now. This is insane. And then another very famous figure is going to show up, Amerigo Vespucci. All right, so an Amerigo Vespucci is going to be accredited with making maps of most of the lands throughout the Caribbean and Central America. And he is going to be the first to not map the entire thing, but he's the very first person to realize that these are not islands. They're 2 brand new continents, right? So Amerigo Vespucci is the first one to realize that they have 2 new continents on their hands, right? Or 2 massive land masses on their hands. And so, in honor of him and his great work, they name the Americas after him, right? North and South America, right? So, now they had no idea how big the continents were, so he ended up getting a lot for his bang for his buck. But the Americas are called Americas because Amerigo Vespucci was the very first person to realize that that actually happened. Now, this is going to continue to expand. And then another very famous individual named Magellan is going to strike out to try and be the very first captain of any single vessel or any country, violates the line of demarcation, and sails out and says, I'm going to try and circumnavigate the globe, right? Circumnavigate means to sail all the way around the world. But unfortunately, what's going to happen to Magellan is he never actually finished. Now, his voyage did go all the way around the world, right? But he is going to die right here in the Philippines, right? So Ferdinand Magellan tries to convert the Philippine natives to Christianity, and then he ends up being killed, right? So, and that right there is the foundation of European exploration. Y'all have a good one. We'll talk about it more in class. I'll see you guys later. Bye.